Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
Hey, I'm Kim Holderness.
And I'm Ben Holderness.
We host the Holderness Family Podcast every Tuesday.
You may know us from the silly videos that we make online.
Or a book about marriage called Everybody Fights.
Or as winners of season 33 of The Amazing Race.
Still can't believe that happened. Listen, we do a lot of stuff, but our podcast is our most favorite thing.
Yeah, because every week we get to sit down face to face, talk to each other about marriage, family, mental health, or just anything that we want to know more about.
Sometimes we have expert interviews, sometimes it's just us, but our goal is to bring some joy and laughter into your life every week.
Our other goal is that maybe you will learn something as well.
Right, so search the Holderness Family Podcast and check out our most recent episodes. We have one about staying organized with creators of the Home Edit.
And one about being diagnosed with ADHD as an adult.
We hope you'll join us.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
On today's Smart 7, rows at the UN over Palestinian civilians, another bad day for Donald Trump, and lots more. It's Wednesday, the 25th of October. It's World Pasta Day, and happy birthday, Katy Perry.
The Smart 7. It's news, but not the news.
There were angry scenes at the UN Security Council on Tuesday as the unofficial death toll from Israeli strikes in Gaza reached nearly 6,000. The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres was warning at the meeting that there's a significant risk that the conflict will spill over the wider region, and he called for a ceasefire to allow more aid into Gaza. He also said that he recognised the horror of the Hamas attacks, but that the appalling attacks cannot justify the collective punishment of the Palestinian people. That remark sparked calls for his resignation from Israel. US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken was focused on the hostages still held by Hamas and is calling for their immediate release.
We're grateful to Qatar, to Egypt, for helping secure the release of 4 of Hamas's hostages. But at least 200 more are still in the grip of Hamas.
In the House of Commons, Labour MP Imran Hussain was calling for the government to speak up as the civilian death toll mounts.
This is now beyond a humanitarian catastrophe. The innocent blood continues to be spilled on the streets of Gaza. How many thousands of innocent Palestinians must be slaughtered before this government condemns this brutality and bloodshed?
The government is currently spending about £8 million per day on 400 hotels to house asylum seekers. That's because the backlog in asylum applications is at a record high. But there was some good news on Tuesday, according to Immigration Minister Robert Jenrick. He says the new agreements with France and Albania, along with stricter penalties for those involved in illegal migration, will lead to a drop in a need for hotel space. In fact, the minister says the cancellation of hotel contracts have already begun.
As a result of the progress we've made to stop the boats, I can inform the House that today the Home Office wrote to local authorities and MPs to inform them that we will now be exiting the first asylum hotels. Hotels in all 4 nations of the UK.
Labour Shadow Immigration Minister Stephen Kinnock was unimpressed, pointing out that the cancellations only amount to 12% of the total bookings, and he had an intriguing question for the minister.
Is that really the ambition? That there will still be 350 asylum hotels in use at the end of the winter? Is it really true that the hotels he's considering closing will be in marginal constituencies? Does he really think the public might not see through that ruse?
Republicans tried and failed again on Tuesday to elect a new Speaker of the House so that the US government could actually get back to governing. Tom Emmer, the number 3 Republican in the House, was briefly the nominee for Speaker, but almost immediately he had to withdraw as MAGA Republicans and Donald Trump spoke out against him. Republicans then nominated Louisiana's Mike Johnson, who is yet to face a House vote. Tuesday was another bad day for Donald, who was in court in New York for his civil fraud trial, where his former lawyer and fixer Michael Cohen testified that he inflated Trump's assets on instructions from Donald himself. Things didn't go any better in Georgia, where former Trump lawyer and election denier Jenna Ellis became the 4th defendant to plead guilty in the racketeering and election fraud case. Like all the other guilty parties, she has now agreed to testify against her fellow defendants and tearfully address the court.
I believe in and I value election integrity. If I knew then what I know now, I would have declined to represent Donald Trump in these post-election challenges. I look back on this whole experience with deep remorse.
Education Secretary Gillian Bloody Good Job Keegan has waded into a row over sex education in schools with a letter to all schools insisting that all material for the course should be shared with parents. The matter is complicated because of copyright issues, but more than 50 organisations concerned about violence against women have written to her urging her not to politicise sex education. The Department of Education is currently in the middle of a review of material anyway, and Jeff Barton of the Association of School of College Leaders isn't impressed by the whole affair.
It's half term for the majority of schools. So is the Secretary of State's letter designed to go to teachers and head teachers? Are we being put on the collective naughty step by the nation's deputy head girl? Is that what it's about? Or is this essentially throwing some red meat to Tory backbenchers and an education secretary saying, look at me, I am doing things, really, I am doing things. It's not great timing.
So come on Smart 7, Champions League relief for United, and Brittany is spilling the tea.
Right after this. Welcome back.
Tuesday night saw Arsenal and Man United in Champions League action. The Gunners travelled to Spain and picked up 3 points with a 2-1 win over Sevilla. Old Trafford United in tribute to club legend Bobby Charlton with a ceremony to commemorate him before the game. Captain Harry Maguire got the job done on the pitch, giving United a 1-0 win over FC Copenhagen. Manager Erik ten Hag was pleased to have picked up the first points of the campaign and is happy with his new goalkeeper.
Incredible. It's great night. So, and especially so in the last dying seconds, and you concede the penalty, should not happen, but then great save, brilliant save from Andre.
Britney Spears has just released what will probably be the biggest Christmas bestseller. It's not a new version of Let It Snow. It's the first volume of her autobiography, The Woman in Me. Already it's made headlines over her relationship with Justin Timberlake, their decision to have an abortion, and a cold-hearted dumping by text. She's having her revenge, though, served ice cold, as she describes how Justin just wasn't cool. Oh, and in case you're wondering, the audiobook is read by Oscar-winning actress Michelle Williams.
One day, Jay and I were in New York. Walking our way was a guy with a huge blinged-out medallion. Jay got all excited and said so loud, "Oh yeah, faux shiz, genuine. What's up, homie?"
It's around this time of year every year that Christmas starts to creep up on you. It's not even November, but the shops are sneaking in mince pies, and now Netflix is in on the act too. It's dropping a Christmas movie on November 16th. It all seems a little soon, but if you're in a mulled wine mood, the best Christmas ever could be just the thing for you. It stars Heather Graham, Brandy Norwood and Jason Biggs as well, and it's got all the Christmas trees and hilarious misunderstandings a Christmas movie needs.
I've been taking a look around.
You actually think that proving that Jackie's life isn't perfect is gonna make you feel better about yours?
Being here reminds me of everything I wanted to do with my life and didn't. I heard a crash.
You must have left the window open.
I knew you were sneaking around. What is your problem, girl?
It's you, Jackie. Your life is just too wonderful for her.
You've been listening to The Smart 7. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hit that follow button and have a great day. Give us 7 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
My name is Amat Levine, and I'm here to tell you about Black History Unveiled, a new podcast where we spotlight pivotal moments, influential figures, and groundbreaking movements from Black history across the globe. For example, in this first season, you'll hear about how the Louisiana Purchase, the moment when the U.S. nearly doubled in size, is tied to the greatest slave rebellion in history. Learn more about this and other historical events every week on Black History Unveiled. Black History Unveiled is a part of the worldwide Acast family, and you can listen on your preferred podcast platform.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.